During a solar eclipse, such as the one we are currently in, the moon blocks the sun, which, astrologically speaking, is the center of vital energy. So for individuals whose chart is affected, the eclipse period can challenge through compromised body-mind energy that can be felt as lowered vitality, including lethargy and all the way to totally wiped out, and often together with feelings of disharmony and discomfort. Now, when we look at affected public figures, whether or not they're forced to traverse through such feelings, in the visible realm, we will tend to find them in situations that are basically unpleasant and unwelcome. And so here are a few such people that appear to find themselves on the wrong side of this eclipse, aside of course from the Orange Menace, who in a way doesn't need eclipses to be on the wrong side of things, he always is. However, it is also true that this one is putting him in an especially bad light. But aside from him, we have Vice President Harris with the eclipse in Gemini on her ascendant, concurrent with her international trip, during which she made immigration comments that led to rebuke by Republicans. No mystery there, they will reject everything she does anyway and always try to put a negative spin on it. But she also received criticism from members of her own party over her message to Central Americans that they should not travel to the US as they will be turned back. And she also had an awkward interview with Lester Holt in which she looked less than steady. However, I think all of this is a passing thing. Just what happens when an eclipse lands on an important chart placement, the ascending degrees in this case, but you can also see the eclipse trines their Sun and Saturn and sextiles the Moon, which greatly reduces any potential damage. A second individual who is likely finding this period uncomfortable is Fauci, whom I recently posted a video about, but didn't mention that the eclipse today is opposite his Mercury and square his Neptune, so he's likely feeling the downside of past statements about COVID that have led him into a present period in which he is being questioned. And then we have House Representative Nutcase Lauren Boebert, who, though not quite as aggressively nutty and unhinged as her compatriot Marjorie Taylor Greene, is still quite a piece of work, and right around now finds herself the recipient of reports that her constituents are fed up with her and her preening ways, and that there appears to be a good chance she will get bounced out of Congress in the next round of elections. You can see the eclipse fairly close to opposing her Sagittarius Sun degrees, and with a decent chance to be near her Moon degrees as well. And then we have ex-American diplomat in the Trump administration, Kurt Volcker, who left his post in September of 2019, ostensibly to avoid being too close to the Ukrainian extortion mess that Trump had created, but he was still called to testify in the impeachment. When you will recall, he sounded reasonably credible, only right around now to have it revealed that he was lying through his teeth when he said that in the Ukrainian discussions he was part of, the looking for dirt on Joe Biden was never part of it. Unfortunately for the untruth of that story, recordings have a way of making things uncomfortable by revealing the actual truth, and so it is that the recent recording unearthed by CNN features Giuliani with Volcker present, pressuring the Ukrainians to find dirt on Biden. And for the eclipsing of this guy, there we see Mars getting squared by the eclipse, with Neptune already transiting in square to his nodal axis and opposing that same Mars. And as for Rudi, well, as has been true for quite some time now, if the bleep hits the fan anywhere, he's likely to be in the middle of it. And since he's certainly part of the Volcker story, there you see the eclipse in Gemini, which doesn't seem to hit any of his points in the sign directly. But first of all, he is a Gemini, and it's his 10th house public sign. And if you add up the 4 Gemini points of energy in that sign, you get something in the 18-degree range, which is definitely close enough to line up with trouble. Finally, let's not forget embattled Bibi, as he finds himself in a major battle to save his political power, as well as his freedom from possible jail time, and as was commented in this channel, the eclipse, while placed in the 7th house of open competitors, is also squaring his Saturn midheaven placements, making for a very uncomfortable moment. Will he escape yet again? Time will tell. We'll probably have to ask Mercury retrograde about that outcome.